What's up guys, welcome to the channel. Time for a new market update because it's Sunday. Today we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum and gold like usual, and I wanted to include XRP today. And the difference is with Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold I always prepare a little bit. Of course I'm not spending an hour analyzing and charting, but I look at what happened and then I make the video. But now XRP I have no clue. I really haven't watched what XRP has been doing in the past weeks, so I'm going to live chart or give my live reaction to that. Live reaction sounds a bit weird to a chart, but you get what I mean. Like and subscribe, I really appreciate that, and let's get into the video then. Let's start with Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, we were here last week, of course. 2 weeks ago I said why not go back to the 75k because we're not gaining anything, and they did. Then Saturday, Sunday they gave a nice pump. I believe in the last video the pump already happened, or we were already pumping a bit. So they completed the big pump because they sweep something big, of course. But then, yeah, the follow-up is, you might argue, we gained something, we pumped 5%, but this level, we weren't close to this level, and we didn't really even make a new high. And then you could say, oh, okay, we're trying, we make a new high, of course we saw a pullback, but ask yourself the question, such as ask yourself the question, we sweep something here, chart is looking weak, we're making new lows, as you see, new lows, new lows, new lows. Of course we gain things, we gain the move to the low, we gain this level, sure, but on the bigger picture, to actually switch from trend and make new highs there, do we gain this? Do we gain this upper range? No. And then when you wick this and you see this move here, we're going down. And of course I'm speaking in hindsight now, it's easy, oh it already happened, of course you're going to say it's easy, but you have to just realize this causes a lot of liquidity, a lot of buying pressure, but we don't break anything necessarily to make new highs or break the local downtrend, so then you're going to make new lows, and that's what we did. Yeah, we sweep some nice things here, fully already going back to what was this, April, so more than a month ago. And now we're trying again, though with this sweep you saw strong reaction. With this sweep, yeah, you saw a lot of sweeps here with a lot of wicks. It's not that powerful, and that's not necessarily bad. That doesn't mean that the sweep wasn't good, we're going to the $70,000. That's not true, but at least here you saw price, yeah, instantly aggressively gaining. But again, that's not really that relevant. It's just, yeah, important that on a Monday we start gaining this level for sure. Most important, that's like what this level was for this sweep. And then of course, same thing, we can go back here, we can aggressively gain, we can show 5% pump on Monday, that can all happen. But when we get here, around here, and we, yeah, do this, then you can expect new lows. I'm not saying that instantly just short, because you can still of course sweep something and still try again. But what we've seen the past weeks is just a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. Then we're probably going to try to sweep something here again, and if that fails we're going to go back to the 70,000, 71,000. That's just very basic price action, and you might argue, oh that's so easy, markets will move like that, but I literally showed in the past 2 weeks what I expected, and price did that using very simple language and just saying if this happens then that happens, and it happened. So okay, of course you do what you want with that information, but that's just the way I'm explaining things. We have this box, price can surely on the Sunday evening or Monday tap this and make new highs, gaining $74,000, surely possible. But yeah, last week was a bearish week, we dropped a lot, as you see Monday to, what was it, Friday or Thursday, 6% dump. If you zoom out on the bigger picture for a second on the daily, we're in a downtrend since, yeah, start second week of May. We have to break it, and even if you look to the daily, what is your daily move to low? Is this level, 78,000 to the 79,000. So surely, yeah, this range, if you gain this, then we can speak, and then we can say, oh, actually we're not doing that bad, and we can go back to the 80,000. As long as that is not the case, then we can surely expect this to happen. But of course we're still far from the bottom of this range. This is a big range, not going to lie. What is that, 20%, even 30%? So it's not like, oh, we fail to gain tomorrow and we're making new lows. It doesn't happen that quickly, but I hope you understand the general message that if you don't show what needs to be shown, we're going to make new lows very easy. Ethereum, same thing, though Ethereum has shown a bit more strength since that dump, 4% move, but Ethereum, despite overperforming Bitcoin in the past few days, has been underperforming the past few weeks, so, and it doesn't even catch up. But Ethereum, same thing, made a low here, showed a very good reaction actually, even like immediately below a level like this. Oh. But then, yeah, they almost wicked it, basically they close below it, and then yeah, you see no follow-up. If you zoom out on Ethereum as well on the daily, it's worse than Bitcoin, because we're like 9% of the origin of this move, while on Bitcoin, sorry for the crazy lines now, because I zoomed out, we're 30% off, so it's almost double. So Ethereum is doing a bit worse than Bitcoin, though no need to panic, but it's the same thing for our, like we did here. We can pull back to here, though this wick already grabbed all liquidity. But yeah, if you see this, great. If you see this, great. But the real resistance, the real level to prove that we're not anymore in that downtrend is this level. Until we gain that, we can do anything you want over here. Unless we gain the 2100, then nothing changes on the bigger picture. Again, like we did here, we can show aggressive gain, but then if there's no follow-up or you don't break necessarily or key levels, then that pump was nice. Hope you catch that trade, but apart from that, it was not like spectacular or meaningful. Same thing here, Ethereum can surely do this and then dump to a lower level. Surely possible. I don't see why not. And of course, I don't want to be that guy that just says, oh, trend is down, so we're going down, trend is up, we're going up. But that's just the expectation at the moment, unless we gain something, and I don't expect that to happen in 1 week. Of course, we can end up here next week. That can happen, but I don't expect next market to be feeded that we're saying, okay, Ethereum and Bitcoin did something great. We gained this level, which is what, like a 7-8% pump. We're looking at switching to an uptrend. Try to long, try to buy. We're going back to the 2,500. Don't expect that to happen in 1 week, though. Everything can happen in crypto, of course. I would say on Bitcoin, it's interesting to look for a long here. On Ethereum, yeah, this week already gave that long. Shared this long in the server, was very, very nice. Unfortunately, I didn't take that myself, but it is what it is. So yeah, Bitcoin long surely possible, and Ethereum also possible to trade. I think Ethereum has shown more tradable price action in the past weeks, just with cleaner sweeps, cleaner level steps. So I would say look at Ethereum if you only trade Bitcoin, or don't really, if you ignore Ethereum, surely take also a look at Ethereum. If you look at gold, gold did the opposite. Gold made that low, made that sweep this week on the Thursday. Yeah, 4% down on gold. I feel like nobody is really speaking anymore about gold because the war and the things going on in the world aren't at peak anymore, because everyone is bored. Yeah, we know there's a war in the Middle East. Yeah, we know oil prices is rising. We know this, we know that. But still, from the top of more than a month ago, we're down 10% on gold. Don't want to. There's no like conversion rate, but let's say that's on Bitcoin 30% if you want to compare it like that. So it's still a big move, 10% down on gold. I feel like many people aren't just talking about it because they're bored of gold and the markets being in the news the past months. And of course we had this crazy rally earlier this year, so people surely don't need to cry. If you bought the top here, yeah, then you just don't want to say an idiot, but then you know if you buy a lot, I'm highest, there's always risk that was the actual top. So I feel like that's the reason why nobody's really talking about this gold crash or downtrend. But we sweep something, though I feel like they needed to sweep this. This is, yeah, together with this, but this one is more important. I feel like, let's keep this level. Yeah, the most important zone, and this is not really the hold or the orange, and this is really the extreme zone, the emergency zone. If gold doesn't hit this, then we're in trouble. We're going below the $4,000 on gold. But they didn't sweep this, which, okay, that's also positive because they still have that level as security or as support, or they can pick up liquidity and try again in case we fail here. But if we picked up this, we may have seen even stronger pump or more confirmation or more belief in the market and in gold going back to $4,500, $5,000. But it's fine, I guess. Locally, we're in an uptrend. Pump was already mentioned, I think 5%. We gained a lot here. We baked also something which is okay to see. Of course, we can't just pump straight to the moon. But the follow-up is very important now. I wouldn't be surprised if gold goes back here, sweeps this and makes new highs. But this is also the level that I was talking about on Bitcoin and Ethereum. 4,600, if gold gains that, we can actually have more upside moves in the coming weeks. If gold fails or doesn't even make a new high below this, breaks through this level, yeah, then we can expect gold sweeping these two levels, 4,300. And then of course, price will surely sweep it and give a reaction like here, or whenever price sweeps something. I mean, we're not just going to do this, but it's also possible that these levels are not enough and that we do this and then dump again. But for now, that's not something you should look at, because that's another 5-6% dump. Can surely happen, but I expect gold to open around this range, nothing spectacular. Last week they opened with like 1% almost, that's very good. Now I expect them to open in this range, of course, nothing spectacular. And then I hope they can look for this range here, for this level to break. And of course, if they don't break it immediately, or if they break it, that's not bad, but then yeah, you need to have some sort of momentum, because it's weird to explain with lines, because if you see this wick, imagine this was a level, you see this wick, then this is, it's not good because you clearly wicked it and picked up the liquidity and the resistance is too strong, too many sell orders, etc. It's not the best case. But if we do this, we retest this and then we actually gain it, that's positive. So in case we wick it, it's not necessarily bad, but the best case scenario is that we aggressively gain it, of course, but don't expect that to happen. To be honest, it is what it is. On gold, surely look for longs at the moment. Pull back here, very interesting to long here as well, though of course you're a bit more on extreme zone, and here probability is lower, but still you can still take the risk, in my opinion, because of course it's a game of risks and probabilities trading. So surely possible to long these sides. And as you see, gold is aggressively wicking sometimes. Where was it? Yeah, some time ago already, I think. So a short, just a short without confirmation at this level is also possible, in my opinion. Though of course, if you don't feel comfortable just smashing trades and not having any sort of confirmation, I would still avoid that. But that was it for gold, I guess. Follow-up will be important, but gold is looking better than Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, because they might actually be at the brink of a rotation or reversal. And let's look at XRP now. As promised, I really have not keep track with altcoins what they did. This was irrelevant, and this, like, look, that's always nice to see. Of course, sometimes you have you forget coins you charted like a year ago, 2 years ago, you have your levels, and then if you see that price perfectly respected that, that's insane. Like this level, maybe I shared this somewhere in the server or not, and then you see 70% move. That's amazing. This level is worthless now though, but okay. XRP has been doing the same thing as a lot of altcoins, I guess. Not really anything. They're stuck in this range since that dump, of course, that Bitcoin, Ethereum also experienced in February. They have a long way to go, but it's not looking necessarily that bad. Of course, it's very important we gain this, because with that altcoin liquidation in October, that was crazy. Picked up all this liquidity, so price was just waiting to waterfall down to here, 50% dump again. And we have our levels like here. I'd say this is an important box in case we fail to hold $1.20. Oh, let me make that box clear. So this is an important zone. Can surely be very nice opportunities in case price goes back to here, but if you're an investor in XRP or just a believer in the general market, then you don't really want price to dump below the $1.24, because when XRP dumps, it's not just XRP, it's the whole altcoin market that dumps, and then you have another crash of about 20-30%, and that's not positive, because I believe XRP might recover in the future, but a lot of altcoins, even top 100 altcoins, top 50 altcoins, they're not going to recover anymore. They're down what, like 80%, 60%. Of course, some coins are doing better, some coins are doing worse, but yeah. Okay, anyways, let's look at local price action for the moment. Of course, we sweep something here. Equal lows, I guess. This is your zone where you can look for a local long. Surely has potential because we're low. Of course, you want to buy low, sell high, so that's surely possible to look for a long here. Surely because we see gain on the higher time frame, or the 4 and 1 hour, we clearly see that we gained stuff. So even though it's a 3-4% done, this is surely a setup you can take. And then of course you have to start up top. Of course, this is your main failure here. Where did you make a new low here? This is your failure when you make a new low. So let's say you can surely just do this long here, or wait for confirmation and long there, but do this. Stop loss just above this low, and then you have a nice 3.5 hour setup. Surely possible. This is not a signal. This is no financial advice. Just saying what I would be looking at XRP right now. And the bigger picture, XRP, it's doing alright. Just like every other altcoin, of course, the moves have been more percentage-wise than on Bitcoin, Ethereum, 15% moves constantly. But on altcoins, it's just normal that you see more volatile moves in percent. So yeah, it's not like 15%, you don't see that on Bitcoin, Ethereum, are altcoins actually doing something? No, they're not. So XRP is looking alright, it's okay, nothing spectacular, but yeah, we're basically all just waiting to see altcoins and the whole crypto market in general really start pumping or dumping again, really for traders who want to catch the big moves. For investors, you hope, I guess, that we stop pumping. But what I've seen for the past 3-4 years in the market, the summer is not necessarily the time period where we see things kick off. Of course, I don't want to make that simple argument that, oh, it's summer, it's hot, people are taking days off, people are a bit like less enjoy instead of work. I think that is the case a bit, but I don't know, you just see most of the times in the summer, of course there's price action, of course there's volatility, but we don't really see big moves or really like reversals happening in the summer, which is unfortunate because for me, I have, in the summer it's a perfect moment to trade, in my opinion, why not? But yeah, we don't see that happening, so yeah, I don't want to make any statements or things about XRP because it can surely be different, but I wouldn't be surprised if we stay in this range here, this 20% range until the start of September, October. Yeah, and I really don't expect the price to break this because then it's not the end of the story if you break this. And not only for XRP, for Doge, for Solana probably as well, also for Ethereum and Bitcoin. I don't think we'll see altcoins dump 20-30% and Ethereum is just like, oh, I'm chilling. So yeah, don't expect them to break this, but I also don't expect like new highs. So XRP, you can, if you're an investor in altcoins, you can be accumulating a little bit, because if you look to the bigger time frame, of course, we're here, start buying. But yeah, would also think about the worst case scenario, and that is that we make new lows and go back to here. Though what is that? You're in a loss of what, 20%? It's not nice, but sometimes you have to take a risk because the risk reward in this range is pretty good. But I'm waffling a lot. I just want to summarize that we're in an okay spot. I don't expect big moves on altcoins and XRP in particular in the coming weeks. But yeah, I don't know where it's going to. But we're in the mid range. We can go lower, we can go higher. You can start buying because we're lower, like we're 60% down. Start buying, I guess, if you want. There's no financial advice, but this is what I would do if I would be an investor in altcoins. It's a good time to buy, but know that there are still risks, and this is not just only up in the summer. But for now, I think that was it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Gold, and XRP. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you want me to look at another altcoin or chart a forex currency pair or look at a stock, let me know in the comments and I'll do that next week. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.